that again, I could make a substitution that impacted against Newcastle. So, as always, we try to sign players that can help us. But there's no reason after the first 2 games to complain or to think we need more. But if we can strengthen the squad, then we will always try to do that if it's for the right money and it's the right player. And there are only 3-4 days to go now. So, yeah, let's see if we do something, and if we do something, what we can do.
From the players that you're working with this weekend, and obviously it is a big game, what improvement do you feel you need to see that will give you the best chance of maintaining your own 100% record and ending Arsenal's?
No, the most simple answer to that is a lot, because we face a very strong team, and that was already really good last season, and I think I've improved their squad a lot during the summer. So, yeah, and if you then look at all the quality they have, but especially one thing that stands out in the season till now, and what stands out in a negative way for us, is that we've conceded, if I include the Bilbao game, 4 set pieces. And of course, as we all know, that's one of their strengths, not the strength, but one of their strengths, because they can play in multiple ways. You can see how well they are managed by Miguel, and they're working for 5 years together, because they can play almost every style there is in football, and that tells you how well managed they are. But one of their strengths is also set pieces, and that is an area where we, if you look at Monday, when we faced Newcastle, we conceded 2, and against Bilbao, we conceded 2. It's a part we need to improve. Where we, by the way, were really good at last season. So no panicking at all. We also had to defend at Newcastle 350 set pieces. So then only conceding 2 is not even so bad.
Obviously, both games against Arsenal finished in 2-2 draws, and I think against top 4 opposition, or the teams that finished in the top 4 last season, you took 11 points from a possible 18. I just wonder, even though it's such an early stage in the season, how important do you feel it is not to lose ground on a potential title rival?
Nah, not so much to do with losing ground, but yeah, it has to do with losing ground, but not that we play Arsenal. So it's more in the beginning of the season you want to. Normally teams don't play their best game unless you keep the same squad completely and you add 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players. Then you can maybe expect that the team is growing even further. If you look at our situation, we've lost a few, we've added a few, so then it's not starting all the way new again. But I think it's normal that we play even better, not better, but even better in a few months than we do, or in a few weeks than we do now. But in the meantime, you can't lose ground. Not a lot. Although I do think that it's. I would be surprised if there will be a point record this season in the Premier League. I would be surprised if one team gets more than 100 points because of the strength of the league. So you are able to drop once in a while a few points and still be competitive. I think in the end of the season. But the best thing you can do is not drop points at all.
Thank you.
Anna, just picking up on what you said there then, do you think that the league is more competitive noticeably this season than last season, based on what you just said?
If that's even possible, because it was already so competitive last season. But maybe I'm wrong, but I think in general teams spent more than last season. I'm not 100% sure, and I'm talking about net spend, not talking about what teams spent and forget then what they've sold, but in terms of net spend. But maybe I'm wrong, but last season we didn't do a lot, but I think our competitors didn't do a lot last season as well, and that's completely different this season.
OK, well, as expected, Arne Slot not giving very much away on Alexander Isak. We'll continue our Isak and Newcastle chat as well in just a moment. But we've got some transfer news reaching us all the time. And Bournemouth are in advanced talks with AC Milan over the signing of right-back Alex Jimenez. The deal is for an initial loan that could become permanent at the end of the season. We're also hearing that La Liga club Elche are understood to be among those interested in Manchester United's Tyrell Malacia. Malacia, one of the players that United would be happy to leave in the summer. Another one of those, Rasmus Højlund. Napoli are hopeful that Højlund will travel to Naples for a medical in the next 24 to 48 hours. United are waiting for personal terms to be finalised. So updates for you there on Rasmus Højlund, Tyrell Malacia, and also Bournemouth in advanced talks with AC Milan over the right-back Alex Jimenez. Right, let's get back to what Arne Slot just said there, gentlemen. In fact, probably the biggest thing we learned there was that Vinny O'Connor eats stale donuts for breakfast. I mean, Vinny, a donut is one thing, but not a stale donut, mate. Come on, get a fresh one. Alexander Isak, he doesn't eat donuts for breakfast, I'll tell you that. Let's get back into how he could fit into Liverpool. So Alexander Isak comes in. How are you lining up their attacking options, their starting 11?
I think he starts straight down the middle. But once he gets back to fitness, because I guess he's not sharp and he's not fit at the minute. But he will start if he goes to Liverpool. But what Arne Slot's great, isn't he? Because he covers all the bases and he sounds so positive all the time. And what he's saying, I think he's actually correct. If we can land a player of that quality for the right price, of course, any team would take him. But if we don't, I don't actually think he's panicking because he has options that he believes in that can come off the bench or impact games. Ekitiki's done brilliantly, I think better than everyone thought he would do straight away. So I think he's probably in a position where he's like, to the board, go and get him if you can, if you're happy with it. If not, I'm okay.
But Ekitike started so well playing through the middle as a number 9. So aren't you risking affecting his progress and his form by bringing Isak in, who I presume has to play through the middle, right?
Yeah, but you are. But then I think it goes down to a conversation or both players being professional and understanding what I have to fight for my position now. Ekitike has done brilliant, but if Isak comes in, he'll be feeling the pressure of that, him getting up to speed over the next few weeks. And also for Isak, it would be good because it means he doesn't just go straight in. He now has to battle someone as well.
All right, we're going to have more on Newcastle and particularly their new signing, Nick Voltemada, in a couple of parts' time after we hear from Eddie Howe. But let's just get a little bit on him now because he obviously is a big part of this whole Isak situation and the dominoes. Nicknamed, as we said, Volta Messi, 2-metre Messi. Just give us a bit more meat on the bone. What on you, Messi? Just give us a bit. And why are they spending so much money on him?
Yeah, look, they're getting a unique player, I think is fair to say. Someone who is that tall. If you read 6'5" or 6'6", he's probably pushing an inch, aren't we all at times? But look, top scorer for the German under-21s in the European Championships in the summer. The interesting thing with this, he moved from Werder Bremen to Stuttgart in the summer on a free transfer. He's now leaving for close to £69 million. But
amazing.
For someone so tall, he's got an excellent touch. I spoke to our European football expert, Kevin Hatchard, yesterday, get a real insight into him. And he said, look, for a team like Bayern Munich to come in, for any player, any German player, you know how good he is. Bayern Munich wanted that player. The player chose to move to Newcastle. The opportunity, I would assume, of first-team football being that number 1 striker, not playing second fiddle to Harry Kane, would have been very, very appealing. But his touch, for someone so tall, very good, ruthless finisher, and he's expected to improve time and time again as well. So this could be a really good sign for Newcastle.
Yeah, like everyone else, actually, I didn't know much about him last night. Got on YouTube. I'm sold. Didn't know much. Old minutes of Voltemada. I'm sold. We'll talk a bit more about him in a couple of parts' time. As I said, we've got Eddie Howe on the way this morning. Plus, we've got big developments at Tottenham Hotspur to bring you. Stay with us. It's going to be
in Hertzler about all things looking ahead to the weekend, including his love of tattoos. We've also got an exclusive interview with Mo Salah ahead of our Super Sunday match, Liverpool versus Arsenal at Anfield. Don't miss Premier League Friday on Sky Sports News, 5 o'clock till 7.
Yeah, can't wait for that. Don't forget, you can join Roman Kemp every Friday on the Premier League show at 5 p.m. Now, we've got an update for you concerning Arsenal because they are pushing to get a deal done for the Bayer Leverkusen defender Piero Hincapie. It is understood that while some progress is being made, there is still work to do and the clubs remain in talks over a loan with an obligation to buy. James, just explain what else would need to happen for this deal to go through for Arsenal.
For Arsenal, this will be a direct replacement for Jakub Kiwior. Should he leave and depart to Porto, that move looks set to happen. Probably taken a lot of Arsenal fans by surprise that they're still looking at the market. Now, likelihood is Arsenal will be pushing for a loan move with an obligation to buy at the end of the season so they can move that transfer fee into next year's reports so it doesn't cover this year's. But for Arsenal, they are looking on that left side. They're always looking at developing. They bought in Eze. They're looking at how they can attack more on that left-hand side. Alexander Zinchenko departing as well may help push this deal a little bit further forward, but investing heavily this summer.
Amazing, yeah. I mean, what does that say about Arsenal's transfer window, actually? That they've already had a brilliant window. They've filled loads of gaps. And still, even now, they're just looking to upgrade in a position where they're already very strong.
I think it mirrors their season, their last couple of seasons, where they've had a brilliant season but kind of not got it over the line. So they're trying to cover all bases. They've had a good window, as you said. I think they've brought in good players, especially with the Eze one. That might be I think they're looking for something, or they don't want to leave themselves a loose end where, you know, in January, February, they're just missing a player in a position. So they're trying to cover all bases to try and win the league effectively, which is what they just need to do. Yeah. They just need to get it done.
Well, yeah, now them and Liverpool, there's not many excuses for either of them. They've both had excellent windows. Right, big news overnight. Tottenham Hotspur are close to completing the signing of Xavi Simons from RB Leipzig. The clubs have agreed a deal worth just over £51 million for the 22-year-old, and he's also agreed personal terms. Florian Plettenberg is reporting that he will sign a 7-year contract once it is all sorted out. James, I'm going to start with you on this because it was all pointing towards him going to Chelsea. That was all the noises, wasn't it? He's going to Chelsea. How have Spurs nipped in and got him at the last minute? Is this like an Arsenal Eze situation or slightly different?
No, this is very different. Chelsea have not put in an offer for Xavi Simons. They've not had a bid rejected. They're happy
Himself anyway in any squad. I think it's a great move for Tottenham. I think he's been on everyone's radar for years since he was a kid. He was labelled the next big thing. Kind of dipped a little bit, but I think he's an excellent player. He was great in the Euros, and I think wherever the good thing about him is Thomas Frank will use him in multiple positions. He can play anywhere across that front line, just behind the striker. So, very creative, and what they've got as well in there makes them a real attacking threat.
And he's just 22 years old, so lots of time to improve. Thomas Frank's a manager that is known for improving players and making them and turning them into the maximum they can be. He could do that with a very talented young player in Simons.
Yeah. All right. Well, from Chelsea's point of view, they might have missed out on Xavi Simons, but they have finally agreed a fee with Manchester United for Alejandro Garnacho. James, just to put some more meat on the bone for this for us.
£40 million fee, fixed fee, plus a 10% add-on is something that Manchester United like to do. Medical scheduled for this afternoon. It will actually be the fourth largest sale in Manchester United history. That's after Ronaldo, Lukaku and Di Maria. And it's also the club's largest ever sale of a Man United Academy graduate. United negotiated that fee because Chelsea were looking at getting him a lot cheaper than that. They had an initial offer of £25 million rejected. Got their man, though, £40 million. And actually, I spoke to Enzo Maresca just last week, and he said he was going through the whole squad. He was going through all the positions.
I'm going to interrupt you. We've got some breaking news to give you, and it concerns West Ham and Southampton, because Mateus Fernandes has today left Southampton to join West Ham United in a package worth over £40 million. The Portuguese midfielder departs 12 months after joining Saints, having recorded 2 goals in 36 Premier League appearances last season. And the club, as you can imagine, wishes him the best for the future. But West Ham needed to make some midfield signings. That's what the fans were crying out for. And James Green, it's quite handy, he's president of the Mateus Fernandes Appreciation Club, aren't you? We were going to talk about Fernandes towards the end of the show, but is this the kind of player that's going to please the fans? Because a lot of people are saying they need legs in midfield, they need youth. Is Mateus Fernandes going to give them that? Look,
yes, I am president of his fan club. I think he's a terrific young player. I really do. I think it's difficult when you're in a side that struggles so much in the Premier League, but he was that shining light. He was the beacon of hope in that Southampton team. He's got this work rate and mindset in him that despite the struggles, he was always the one charging back. He's got legs, everything that West Ham do need. I was at Wolves West Ham on Tuesday night, and their midfield just looked lost at times, lacking pace. He's exactly what they need in that centre of the park. It's a start for West Ham. They still need a lot more if they're about to get themselves out of that hole, but Mateus Fernandes is a big part and a big step in the right direction for Graham Potter's side.
Do you agree with that, Ashley? Do you look at that squad and think it needs quite a bit of surgery? It's not just going to be one or two players.
This doesn't fix West Ham's problems. It helps, and I think you bang on with the midfield. That's a real big issue, but they've got issues everywhere at the back. They need to get some business done in the next couple of days. But what it will do is give a little bit of a boost to the West Ham fan base to say, OK, we are actually actively trying to improve the situation, because it looks so dire, the last couple of weeks for them. So at least they've got something to hold on to now. But I think they need more to get out of the trouble that they're in.
All right, good stuff. I can tell you that Chelsea forward Christopher Nkunku is likely to depart. He's arrived in Italy ahead of his move to AC Milan for a deal that could reach more than £36 million. So Chelsea busy with incomings and outgoings at this late stage of the window. We've got plenty more still to come. Stay tuned, because Newcastle boss Eddie Howe is coming up next. Thoughts of Newcastle boss Eddie Howe? Well, he's speaking now to our reporter Keith Downey.
It's been a busy transfer window for you for a number of reasons. Players coming in, players you've tried to get in. But how busy is the last few days, the last week been, as you sort of furiously try and bring in a striker?
I think the last month really has been the same. It's been relentless. This has been a demanding window in lots of different ways. The work going in has been detailed. It has to be. We have to try and bring the right players to the football club, and there's been a big effort from everyone behind the scenes to try and achieve that. So as I said earlier, we look like we're getting closer, but nothing is signed yet. But it's certainly moving in the right direction. On a scale of 1 to 100, how much are you looking forward to it closing, the window closing on Monday night? It'll be good because I think we can then focus on what we love to do, which is the training and the players that we have, and trying to build the team, knowing that it's settled and all the emotion around the transfer window is gone. But yeah, of course, there's also benefits to the window in a sense that if you need to improve the squad, you still have a chance to do it, and certainly we are looking to do that in the last few days. So going from what you're saying there, if you get Voltemad in and confirmed, are you still active in the window? Yeah, we're still looking because I think there's still an opportunity maybe to improve the squad further. But I don't know quite what that will look like. But I think just small steps really. Let's try and get the deal that we're working on done and then see where we are. Given how active you are at the moment, I know obviously it feels like this plate's spinning, but what does that activity mean for the future of Alexander Isak? Do you expect him to still be a Newcastle player come Monday evening? Difficult for me to give you any clarity on the future, Keith. I've said before, I don't know what the future holds in that respect because I'm not dealing with it myself. I've got no update from what I spoke about the other day. I'm concentrating on trying to bring players to the club. Will Osula came off the bench and scored the other night. He's like the only recognised striker you've got at the moment, unless you manage to get someone registered in time for tomorrow. Does he deserve a chance against Leeds tomorrow? Yeah, possibly. I think he's certainly one of the options we're looking at. I thought he did really well when he came on. He took his goal superbly. He gave us renewed energy in a moment when the players were feeling the effects of playing without the extra man. I think he's improved a lot from this time last year when we first signed him. He's gained experience and certainly the knowledge of how we play and what we ask our centre forwards to do isn't easy. It's not an easy position to play, but he's gaining in confidence, I think, and that goal will do him the world of good. And just finally, I guess it's a challenge for you and your coaching team as well. Whether it's Will who starts up front, or if you come up with if you devise a different plan, I guess it's a real challenge to try and select a team that's going to cause problems when you don't have like an experienced out and out number 9 there. Yeah, I think our job is to try and find a way to make the team function well. I think that's the most important thing whenever you're picking a team. It's not necessarily about one player in one position. It's about the team still being able to deliver a strong performance. And I think if you look at the 2 games, albeit without an experienced Premier League striker, the team function has been really, really strong. And that's enabled us to be more than competitive in the games. For me, we've been the better team in both of our Premier League games so far, although we haven't won any. But I think over time, if you continue to deliver those kind of strong performances, that will certainly change.
Eddie Howe will be very relieved to not have to answer any more Alexander Isak questions in a few days' time. Although he might have to if he's still there, you never know. But in terms of what else they could get in, do they still absolutely need to get another striker in? And who could that be?
Well, I don't think they need to. I think they'd like to, and I think it'd be Vissa if they could get him. I think that's the one that they obviously wanted earlier on in the window. And now and we heard about Strand Larsen, but I'm guessing it's the same sort of profile as the one they've just brought in. So maybe they're not going to go for Strand Larsen. I don't think they'd get him anyway. I don't think Wolves can't afford to let Strand Larsen go. But I think Eddie Howe will be quite happy. If like he said, if another opportunity arises, they'll bring him in straight away. They'll bring a forward player in, and why would you not?
And just to add as well, just found out from Keith Downey that Nick Voltemad unlikely to be registered in time for tomorrow's game against Leeds United. Currently having his medical, but probably not going to be registered in time for the game.
OK, all right. Let's move on to Kobbie Mainoo then, because the Manchester United midfielder has requested a loan move to get more game time this season, but United have no intention of allowing him to go on loan. They want him to stay and fight for his place in the team. What do you make of this, Ashley? Because they want him to stay, but he's effectively been told by his manager that he's competing with the captain Bruno Fernandes and best player for one spot.
This tells me that because he's asked for a loan move, it says to me, I don't want to leave Manchester United, but I don't want nothing to do with what's going on here, whether that's the manager or just the situation now. I want to play football, which he isn't. He's good enough to be playing in the Premier League, but I don't want anything to do with it. But I don't want to leave my boyhood club. I want to come back when maybe that it's a different manager. That it just says that to me, because You know, if he wanted to leave, he would ask to leave, but he wants to specifically leave on loan, which means I don't really want anything to do with it right now.
I also think with World Cup year, he just wants to get in that England squad. Remember, he started in the European Championship final, just a year ago too. Actually, I guess question on Kobbie Mainoo, where do you think he could end up? What options do you think he'll have? I
think a lot of teams would like him in their team, but the thing about the Kobbie Mainoo is what's always puzzled me and what we're yet to see is he a holding midfielder, is he an attacking midfielder, or is he just a box-to-box midfielder? Is he 6'8" or a 10?
What do you think?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think he's brilliant, and I think he has loads of energy. He's a really fit boy, and sometimes that can work against him because he seems ill-disciplined in the midfield. He just empties the space a lot. So I think the right team, but that will come with age and experience, and maybe he needs to tone down his energy levels. But he needs to fit into a team, if he does go, with some midfield players that just offset his energy, maybe, and just fill holes that he leaves a little bit.
Yeah. All right, Mainoo, we'll see what happens with that one. This one, though, looks like it is going to happen because Napoli are hopeful that Rasmus Højlund will travel to Naples for a medical in the next 24 to 48 hours, as we mentioned earlier. United are waiting for personal terms to be finalised. The deal is a loan plus an obligation and is worth £40 million. The obligation is dependent on Napoli qualifying for the Champions League, which they've got a very good chance of doing because they are the champions at the moment. He wanted to stay. I mean, Kobbie Mainoo, they want him to stay. He wanted to stay and fight for his place at Manchester United. It sounds like United would rather that he leave. Do you think that this could be a good move for him because he's highly rated after what he did there at Atalanta, and he's moving into a club that's a good club. Could be a good place to revive his career.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, Lukaku's there as well, so he'll have to, when he comes back, he'll have to fight for his place with him. But I feel a bit sorry for him. It doesn't surprise me he wanted to stay and fight for his place. He seems like a good professional, a good lad to have in the dressing room. I felt very frustrated for him a lot of the time last year. He made really good runs. They never found him on it. He didn't know whether he was coming short or going long, but he would make the runs. He never got found, and then he'd get like one chance, miss it, and everybody's all over him straight away again. So he's a game striker, and I think if he goes there, they'll probably find, that will suit him more because he knows the league. But I feel a little bit sorry for him in terms of his career at Manchester United. It didn't work out because he wasn't one that you could say he's not trying. He definitely tried week in, week out when he was playing.
Maybe the timing just wasn't right for that. Wasn't the right time in his career. It has been a really busy start to the day already. Deals are getting done. Spurs trying to get Xavi Simons over the line ahead of Chelsea. West Ham signed Matheus Fernandes, and Arsenal are pushing to sign Piero Hincapie. So much that can still happen, and we're going to assess some potential for what looks like a sensational deadline day this year. We're going to take a look now at some of the big deals that could potentially happen. Ashley, let's start with Gianluigi Donnarumma, Champions League winning goalkeeper. Why is I've asked this question about 5 times in the last couple of weeks. Why has no Premier League club come in with a bid for him, especially as his value has now dropped?
Well, I think he was probably the best goalkeeper last season in Europe. I'm guessing, well, you tell me, but I guess it's a money situation. There's not a lot of teams that could afford him.
Wages?
Yeah, but the strange one for me is, and I know that Enzo Maresca's come out and backed his goalkeeper, is it just seems like he would be an upgrade at Chelsea, so I'm surprised that hasn't been linked at all. But I guess not many teams can afford his wages.
Yeah, high wages, moved from AC Milan to PSG on a free transfer. We know when players move on a free transfer, they're able to demand and command bigger wages. That's a problem. Still got a year left in his contract, so PSG want a fee, and they're talking about 30 to 40 million euros. It's still a substantial fee for a goalkeeper with 1 year left in his contract, but as Ashley said, it's one of the best goalkeepers in the world.
Is he worth the money? I think he's worth the money because of his Champions League experience. If you're going to go, if you're one of those top teams, you want to win the Champions League, and your goalkeeper's such an important position, you might just want that. Someone with that experience.
And is he not an upgrade, significant upgrade, for example, for Chelsea or for Manchester United, whereas these teams seem to be thinking, well, there's other positions that are more important?
Yeah, I don't understand the Chelsea one and the Manchester. If they can afford him, you would have thought they would have snapped your hand off for him. I don't understand why they haven't. The Manchester City one's a little bit different.
40 million on Garnacho.
So that it doesn't make sense. I don't have that. You have to ask Enzo Maresca on that one. It makes perfect sense to me because I would see him as an upgrade on what they've got.
Man City, funnily enough, are the sort of main club that have been linked with him in the Premier League in the media. And that's largely because there are these links with Ederson and Galatasaray. Is there a chance that Ederson could leave before the end of the window?
I think there's a chance if they get Donnarumma over the line. Now, Ederson made it clear in the summer at the Club World Cup. He said, I don't want to leave. I want to help Manchester City get back to where they were before, competing for Premier League trophy, Champions League trophy. The interesting thing with Manchester City, they obviously signed a goalkeeper in this window, getting James Trafford back. I'm not sure what message this sends to James Trafford as a young goalkeeper, that you've come back into the club. He's then been put as the number one start of the season over Ederson, and now there's links with Donnarumma. I mean, Ashley, you might be able to help me on that.
Yeah, I think,
how would he be feeling?
Well, it does. It send. I know what message it sends. It sends that we think Donnarumma is a better goalkeeper than you, effectively. But if I'm James Trafford, I'd be saying, and a goalkeeper's a little bit of a different position in terms of there's only one of them, obviously. But I'd be saying, I'll bring you whatever you want in, and I'll prove to you every day that you brought me for a reason, and I'm starting. But it would be a little bit disheartening, I think, for James Trafford if that deal gets, goes over the line and they go and get Donnarumma, because he's just come in, he's all happy about it, and then all of a sudden one of the biggest goalkeepers in the world has also arrived at the same club.
If Ederson's future is secured at Man City and he remains there after Monday, do you expect him to come back as the number one?
I do, personally, and for me, he would be. I still think Ederson is world class. I really like him as a goalkeeper. He can play with his feet, as what everyone talks about now. He's a good shot stopper. He reads the game well. I think he would be number one for me. If he doesn't move and he's happy and everybody's happy, he'd start for me at Manchester City. All
right, let's move on to Mark Gay, another big player who could potentially move on deadline day or before. First of all, do you expect him to be a Palace or first of Liverpool player come Monday night?
I'm not sure that is the honest answer. I think it'd be devastating for Palace if they do lose him, especially after Eze going as well. He's a big part of that club, Then you start. Crystal Palace doesn't look as positive as it has done, in the last 12 months if he goes. And then if he does go to Liverpool, we was chatting about it before, but I think he goes straight in ahead of Konate next to Van Dijk. He shores up that defence, communicates well. He's a leader. He's probably exactly what Liverpool need right now.
Do you think he's the future for Liverpool at the back? Because Van Dijk signed a new contract, but it's only 2 years now. He's coming to the latter stages of his career, even though he was unbelievable against Newcastle, got to be said. But Mark Gay, he's still young, international player, seems to have so much experience, great head on his shoulders. Do you think Liverpool might see him as the future captain of Liverpool?
Well, they've got in the two full-backs that they want, and obviously Van Dijk is one of the best in the world. And then you put him there and you see him be... You can see him becoming one of the best in the world in the next few years if he's at a team like Liverpool, playing Champions League, challenging for titles. I think he's got a great personality. He will cut, because they're a little bit chaotic at the back this season, Liverpool, which has been the surprising thing. Konate especially. So I just think he'd come in, he'll calm that down. Van Dijk will know exactly where he is, because as a centre-back, sometimes when you look across, you expect your man there and he's not there. It's the worst feeling ever. So when you know where your centre-back is, it's just a good thing if you've got that relationship.
Right, let's move slightly further up the field. Another big-name player who's been linked with a move away, it seems, for the whole transfer window is Nicholas. It seems for the whole Jackson, the strongest link unit. What's the latest on that?
Yeah, Bayern Munich are interested in the player. There's still nothing concrete right now on Nicholas Jackson. I mean, I've spoke to Enzo Maresca last week, and he's been very clear throughout that I've got my two strikers, Liam Delap and João Pedro. Nicholas Jackson isn't one of those two that now I'm looking at this year. He's training with the main group still, but the situation is still the same. He's not been included in the matchday squads. His future is looking elsewhere, but it's whether Chelsea can get a right deal for them as a selling club between now and the close of the window. Loan looks like possibly that could get done, whereas a fee of 70-80 million that we understand Chelsea want might be a bit too high for a lot of suitors.
Is there a Premier League club that could really do with Nicholas Jackson right now?
I'm just trying to think, would he... I don't think he's worth that amount of money, to be honest, right now. But we was talking about Newcastle earlier. They bring someone out. Do they need another striker? Maybe. Is he the one? Probably not. But there isn't that many strikers of high quality going around. So I think someone would take Nicholas Jackson. I don't think he's proven himself yet, really, in the Premier League. I don't think he's the finished article. But with a bit of coaching, you can definitely see the potential.
Aston Villa? Potential?
Yeah, possibly, because they haven't really filled the voids that have been left in attacking positions either. So Villa's a good shout. I think Villa maybe might go for it.
I'm going to toss this in there, right? If he goes to Bayern Munich, Harry Kane wins the league again this year, maybe even wins the Champions League, goes deep in the Champions League, comes back to the Premier League, goes back to Tottenham after a year. Nicholas Jackson takes over as their main striker.
So you're saying Nicholas Jackson will replace Harry Kane as the number one?
One of the people who could replace him long term.
Maybe.
If that's what they want.
It could happen. Look, I think there's a good player in Nicholas Jackson. I think he's got great work rate. I think he'd be a great addition to a lot of clubs. Probably a little bit too much pressure on his shoulders right now, but if he gets the game time, and you mentioned Aston Villa, got Ollie Watkins, let John Duran go, they kind of need some depth in that attacking area. So if they can get a loan move between now and the close of the window for Nicholas Jackson, I think for Villa, I think that'd be a really solid move.
Guys, thank you very much. I really enjoyed it. That was fast moving, was it? It was like a pre-deadline day, wasn't it? Lots going on. And you're very happy because Mateus Fernandes has got his move.
West Ham fans are going to be very happy by that. You really are.
Right, OK. Reminder, we're back at midday for transfer talk. And, of course, we have